ocean, there is a tipping point where there's not enough ice to counteract the heat being absorbed by the darker oceans. Global temperatures will rise rapidly. The last of the ice will melt, and sea levels will rise. Perovich wants to know when our planet will reach this tipping point, when the process becomes irreversible.
118. 118. Whoa. Wow.
He's worried it could be sooner than we think.
The concern is if you start to push the system too far, if you have a sequence of warm summers, you begin to shrink the ice cover by 10, 20, 30%, where you reach a state where it becomes exceedingly difficult to go back.
In 1979, the perennial sea ice cover of the Arctic was approximately the same size as the continental United States. By 2005, the equivalent of almost all the states east of the Mississippi has been lost. It's feared this recent retreat of the sea ice is likely to speed up so fast that all the ice cover may have gone by 2045.
If you look closely at this record, you can see that this retreat's been accelerating in the past few years. And if you look at that accelerating trend, the ice cover could be gone in as short a time as a few decades.
At present, it's not known at what point the process becomes irreversible. The melting of all the ice cover may already be inevitable. The destruction of the ice cover will have an even more immediate effect. We already know that the seas are warming. We know this will accelerate the melting of the ice sheets and push sea levels higher. But it will also have a dramatic effect on our weather. Heat is energy, and sea temperatures are the engine that powers one of the most destructive phenomena on our planet, the hurricane. Hurricanes use water vapor coming off the sea surface as their power source. As the vapor rises, it condenses into water droplets, releasing energy as heat into the hurricane. That's what makes them grow stronger. So as sea surface temperatures continue to rise in the hurricane breeding grounds of the Atlantic, Gulf Coast, and Pacific, hurricanes will increase in intensity. It's not just the power of the winds. In a world of higher sea levels, another danger comes from the huge storm surges the hurricanes bring with them. The duration of tropical storms and their maximum wind speeds have increased by about 50% since the mid-1970s. In the past decade, the world has seen the most powerful El Niño ever recorded, the most devastating hurricane in 200 years, and in 2005, the most active and destructive hurricane season on record. The Earth faces disaster. Scientists predict storms will intensify. In America, cities along the East Coast lie in the path of hurricanes. How long before one of them gets hit? New Yorker and professor of geology Nick Koch of Queens College is concerned that powerful hurricanes hitting northern states will cause mass devastation.
People's minds are on hurricanes a lot now after Katrina, which was our first national repercussions. But people have to understand that a northern hurricane, the type that will hit from Washington to the Canadian border, has very different characteristics. It moves 2 to 3 times faster. And because it moves faster, the effective winds on its right side go way up. So even though it's a Category 3, it might have Category 5 winds on that side.
He's right to be worried. Cities like New York are vulnerable to flooding. In December 1992, a powerful northeasterly storm gave New Yorkers a taste of what it's like to be inundated.
The destruction that it did along the shoreline was easily equal to a low-level hurricane. Winds at one point reached hurricane level.
The worst hit area was the coast of Long Island, where houses were literally dragged into the sea.
It was an immensely powerful event that did tremendous damage along the shorelines.
Downtown Manhattan was underwater. floodwater shorted out the entire New York City subway system.
All our subways and highways and railroads have what we call choke points. Points where they reach low levels. And those choke points were flooded. And there was massive dislocation.
LaGuardia Airport closed. Parts of Manhattan lay under 4 feet of water, and wave height reached 24 feet at the shore. But this was simply a bad storm. Koch fears that with sea levels rising, a strong northerly hurricane could flood much of New York.
The New York, New Jersey metropolitan area is one of the most dangerous places to be in a nor'easter or a hurricane for a simple reason.
The problem is geography. Long Island and the New Jersey shoreline create a right angle. If a hurricane approaches New York, the counterclockwise winds would force a hump of water into that coastal right angle.
You can't push water into a right angle without it rising.
As the water is forced into the narrowing gap, it rises fast.
We're talking about a storm surge rise at the Statue of Liberty of 22 feet and 28 feet in Jamaica Bay.
This massive wall of water would breach the coastline and race into the city.
Premeditated. Self-defense. Sexually motivated. Hunger for human flesh. Nat Geo Wild investigates 6 shocking unsolved cases to find out what drove these animals to become man-killers. Brand new Hunter Hunted. Next on Nat Geo Wild.
The brand new series of Animal Inspectors. If it weren't for these guys, a lot more waifs and strays would be roaming the streets. They're Auckland's Boys in Blue, the emergency service to those animals who've lost their way, reuniting lost pets with their owners and giving the more unfortunate ones a second chance for a better life. Animal Inspectors, part of Animal SOS on Nat Geo Wild. It can take months of preparation and days to ascend.
There is a line that once you've crossed over it, you really are beyond help.
There will be hours in freezing temperatures.
You begin to lose any touch with the reality of what's going on around you.
But it only takes a second
Your judgment gets clouded.
to let someone die.
Yes, you're above 8,000 meters, but does it absolve you of being human?
The Dark Side of Everest. Part of Everest No Turning Back. Sunday from 8 on Nat Geo Wild. This is no ghetto, but it's the heart of gangland, where only one crew can rule the street. In this turf war, sex, drugs, and hijinks all come with the territory. And these monkeys know how to play the game. A troublemaker's guide to survival, a brand new series, Street Monkeys, on Nat Geo Wild.
To Koch, New Yorkers have their heads stuck in sand about the threat to their city.
The biggest danger involved with storms and hurricanes in the New York area is the New Yorker. New Yorkers are notoriously tough, and they feel they've been experienced by terrorism and West Nile virus and people blowing up our buildings. They don't understand their own history. The Northeast has been hit by major hurricanes that did major damage in 1635, 1815, 1821, 1893, and 1938. The average New Yorker has no concept that hurricanes have ever hit. They feel they have enough problems and they're tough enough.
The last strong hurricane to strike New York was in 1938, causing 600 deaths and $5.4 billion of damage in today's money. But as sea levels rise and hurricanes increase in intensity, it's only a matter of time